Hello everyone, how's it going? In this video, we're going to talk about Lucid trading under the ticker symbol LCID. It's been one of the most speculated stocks in the past few years. Some have said that it might be the next Tesla. Others are simply betting on a giant bubble that will eventually collapse. Regardless, most people are hoping that this company is going to be the next heavyweight in a burgeoning industry. Lucid is also one of the few EV companies actually having a product rolled out. And as time went on, the company's price action, the investors' hype and hopes went through huge roller coasters. But even till this day, some are still wondering if this is still a bandwagon they can hop on. So in today's video, we will take a look at Lucid and see if the company still has a place in our portfolios. If you appreciate my content, please consider to drop a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Also, please check out the links in the description, as every help is greatly appreciated. Over the past few days, the stock price of Lucid has been trying to slow down the sell-off and to hopefully begin a new phase. And that really didn't happen. I mean, the reality has been very harsh on the sector as a whole and on Lucid in particular. And Lucid also suffers a double penalty in the sense that people have been hoping to make banks with this new possibility that PIF is going to buy over Lucid. Well, that also, I'm not going to say that it doesn't pan out, but it's no longer part of the zeitgeist, if you will. So this is kind of unfortunate for Lucid, but I think that, we will have to take a step back and to look at the thing from afar nowadays. The sell-off doesn't seem to have slowed down, that is a fact. And the downward slope, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily close or near the end of this phase. Lucid will most likely follow the rest of the market, which is downward. So this is mainly caused by the market not really trusting people to make stocks, equities, risky assets more attractive than the high yield bonds and guaranteed deposits. So this is why I would say that Lucid would be in a rough wash, okay? And there is little, if anything, that we can do to stop that. And there is also a limited number of things that Lucid can do to help itself to get out of this vicious circle. Because Lucid is still in a growing phase, and they need money to expand their operations. They may not get this money from the stocks. And if I don't think that the management really wants to take on more debt in order to expand. At the same time, the situation really is that Lucid needs expansion in order to make its business model cash positive. I think that we have seen the business model being validated by the rest of the market simply because people are buying Lucid Air. And this kind of says it all, right? People are interested in the product. They think that it's a good car. It's just that Lucid is not making enough to, one, make enough money to cover all the costs, and two, to, how can I put it, to amortize sufficiently its fixed costs so that more products can be tried. So Lucid does need money, and if they cannot get it from the equity, they will have to get it from the debt. Unless there is, of course, a private placement, which kind of circles back to the PIF narrative. We don't know what's going on behind the closed doors. I haven't really seen that many news articles talking about it, and this is what I mean. I don't think that the discussions have ended per se, just that we have turned our attention elsewhere. Lucid is an EV manufacturer that is poised to shake up the industry with the cutting-edge technology and designs. While other EV companies have been making strides in the industry, Lucid Motors stands out with its advanced battery technology, aerodynamic designs, and commitment for sustainable business model. So, in addition to the advanced technology and design, Lucid is also committed to sustainable business model by using the renewable energy sources to power the production facilities and wants to reduce its environmental impact throughout the life cycle of their vehicles. This commitment is what separates the company from other competitors, in my opinion. Another factor that makes Lucid Motors standing out is the focus on luxury segment. The company's first vehicle, Lucid Air, is a vehicle that is spacious and comfortable, coming with advanced drivers, assistance systems, and many other luxury features. When we look at the long-term tendencies of Lucid price action, it's not hard to see that the bubble that gave so much hope to traders around the world is now bursted. The market is no longer willing to blindly follow the latest hype, because on one hand, the market doesn't want to persist on believing that a beautifully made PowerPoint is better than a good financial report. On the other hand, it cannot afford to sustain the trend when supply chain issues, doubt over flagship companies within the sector, conflicts around the world, higher interest rates, and a looming recession have already been plaguing the real economy out there and also the narrative. The market has long predicted that there will be a bearish market after such a prolonged bull market, and that most stakeholders believe that it's going to be a rough patch for the next couple of years. The market peaked twice in the past, and if the first peak was caused by pure hype, the second one was triggered by the rollout of actual products. Lucid remains a company that has investment value in the years to come. The main question in everyone's mind is when should they enter in the stock? The long grind to lower price levels is likely caused by the market trends rather than the company fundamentals. So in that sense, things are not as alarming as they may seem. On the other hand, we should remember that sometimes, even if those grinds don't have an actual fundamental reasons, they may still last for a very long time and bring the price to very low levels. Hyliion and PaySafe are excellent examples in that case. Lucid had a strong financial performance in 2022. The company reported revenues of about $200 million in Q3 of 2022, a significant increase from just $232,000 of revenue in Q3 of 2021. This strong revenue growth was driven by the launch of Lucid Air, the company's first vehicle, which began deliveries in late 2021. The Lucid Air is a luxury electric vehicle that has been well received by consumers and that has helped establishing the company's reputation as a major player in the sector. Currently, they still have a negative net income, mostly caused by the fixed costs and other operating expenses that should be absorbed once the volume starts to pick up. Overall, Lucid's financial figures paint the picture of a company that is growing its operations but lacks a little bit in discipline and cost control, needing to scale up the operations to start having positive cash flows. Now, let's also cover the shareholder composition in Lucid, because this is a very important factor to determine if the company is better for trading or investing. Lucid is currently held by the institutional buyers for the most part, at more than 70% of the total float. This suggests that the price volatility of Lucid will be lower than other growth stocks, mostly owned by retails. The reason why this might be the case is because institutional shareholders have far more diversified portfolio and can afford to wait, so they don't mind the short-term volatilities. They also tend to stay in for a longer period of time, which is also a good sign for those of us who want to stay for the long run. Some key behavioral differences between institutional and retail shareholders include their investment horizon and also their level of involvement in the corporate governance. In other words, institutional shareholders tend to behave as if they own the company for real, that they are the ones deciding what is going to be the company's decisions, whereas the retailers tend to just behave as speculators. We come in and we aim to make more money than when we first entered in the stock, and this is the end of it. They don't see necessarily like the potentials of the money that there is to make 5 to 10 years from now. Whereas people managing other people's money can sometimes have this kind of opportunity to wait. The short interest of Lucid has been increasing in recent weeks, meaning an increasing number of investors are wondering whether it's a good time to sell the stock. Short sellers borrow the shares from brokers and then they dump it in the market, hoping to buy them back later at a lower price and making the profit from the difference. In the case of Lucid, there is a significant amount of short selling, but in my opinion, it's not sufficiently significant to say that there is a concerted short operation going on against Lucid. So I would say that this has to be put as a secondary reason at most. It's important to note that the short interest may not guarantee a short squeeze, but nevertheless, it's a metric worth monitoring. It's also worth mentioning that people shorting the stock often have a good reason doing so, and that a short squeeze may not happen regardless of how many stars are being aligned. So my recommendation regarding Lucid is to keep looking at its performance in the stock market and to consider an entry point at some point if the price manages to reach and maintain at around $8. So over the next couple of weeks, we should definitely take a deep look at whether Lucid can stabilize in the current market, that is. Of course, if we move on to a new phase in the macroeconomic cycle, I'm not expecting Lucid to hold on to its current ground, right? So at the end of the day, Lucid is a decent company with a lot of potentials. So if the price can stabilize, I would say that we can start buying from now till 12 or 24 months from now.